YouTube? What's this way? Everything water, water is everything. My familiar. I got for you guys a crazy Scorch everything solar hunter build. I'm telling you, this build is crazy. You get your super in like 20 seconds. You scorching everything. I'm telling you, this is a crazy solar. Season of the Wish is making solar crazy. Hunters right now, we eating good. We eating steak and lobster. But yeah, if y'all like this video, man, please leave a like and subscribe. It's your boy Everything Water. Let's get straight into the video. Now, starting off for our first exotic, we're going to be talking about the Shards of Galanor. Now, the Shards of Galanor is one of a couple solar exotics that got a rework recently for this new season. Now, the perk of this exotic armor is throwing knives, final blows, decreases the cooldown of your super, hits and final blows with a blade barrage will return super energy after super ends. Now this got an extremely better buff. I really honestly put this exotic on par with the Orpheus Rigs in terms of gathering your super, because with the Orpheus Rigs it's like the more enemies you have in the like tether, you get more super energy. But with this, it doesn't even matter if you get a final blow or not. As long as all of your blades that you hit with your blade barrage hits, you get probably like 45% or 40% of your super back. And then when you scorch enemies, you're gonna get, or you do a throw knife, it decreases your cooldown, basically meaning you gain super energy, which is really, really good, because you're gonna be getting your blade barrage like every 20 to 25 seconds. Like honestly, as long as you're scorching enemies with the exotic weapon we're gonna talk about right after this, you're gonna be gaining your super a lot, and it does really good damage. So now when you go to bosses, instead of being out of super, as long as you hit all your blade barrages to that one boss, you get about 40%, which is really good, you know. So now we're gonna get into the exotic weapon of this build. Now for the exotic weapon, we're gonna be using the Skyburner's Oath. Now this exotic weapon, I never really used this. I'm not really a scout rifle type of person. I don't really like scout rifles in this game. I feel like they're just like not really pointless, but it's like, I don't know, they're in between. But this, with the perk, it has this weapon lobs explosive slugs. When you are aiming down sight, the slugs travel fast and straight. When you are free firing from hip, the explosion is larger and applies scorch to targets. You know what we're gonna be doing? Hip firing everything. Hip firing everything. Scorch the whole world, scorch everything, everything burns to ash. That's what we're doing. You're gonna hip fire. And with one of your fragments you have, scorching enemies gives you super energy. So when I tell you you're gonna get your super quick, you're gonna see I get my super probably like in 10 seconds. Not 10 seconds, 10 to 20 seconds. If you're killing enemies and scorching them at the same time, which is crazy, you know what I'm saying? Because I'm telling you, Season of the Witch solars are doing good. This weapon is just perfect for getting your super. This weapon combined with the Shards of Galanor is a perfect way to get your super so quick and do crazy damage at the same time. But yeah, now we're gonna get into the fragments, the aspects, and the abilities of this build. Let's go. Alright, starting off for our super, we're going to be using Blade Barrage, because that's the perfect super and the only super that goes with Shards of Galanor. We're going to be using Gambler's Dodge. If you don't want to use one of the fragments we're going to get into, you can, Acrobatic Dodge is the second best, but Gambler's Dodge is going to reload your melee, and we're going to be using that melee. Now for our melee, we're going to be using Weighted Throwing Knife. Normally, I would use Throwing Knife, but Weighted Throwing Knife now, like, ignites, because we're going to be applying so much Scorch. So now that your weighted throwing knife is gonna ignite like crazy, doing crazy damage and like having increased area effect. So you want to use weighted throwing knife for this season for sure. Healing Grenade, because me personally, the content I do, like any endgame content or 1770 Helm time content or Nightfall, you want to use Healing Grenade. You want to be able to regenerate your health or cure yourself as much as possible. And one of these fragments is gonna apply, well, two of these maybe. One of these fragments, my apologies, is going to be applied to your Healing Grenade. Now for our aspects, we're going to be using Knock them down, and we're going to be using On Your Mark. Going into our fragments now, we're going to be using our first Amber of Torches. Powered melee attacks against combatants make you and nearby allies radiant. Now this goes in hand to hand with Knock them down, because while you are radiant, your throwing knife is fully refunded. So you have infinite throwing knife as long as you have a final blow with these enemies. And now with your radiant throwing knife, which ignites enemies, you're gonna have a lot of damage, crazy damage. Then we also have Ember of Singeing. Your class ability recharge faster when you scorch targets. This is really good because you basically gonna be getting your gambler's dodge, your melee dodge, like in 10 to 15 seconds, honestly. So even if you don't get your knife back, like if they don't damage them, it's still gonna ignite them, and then you're gonna have your dodge. So when you're around enemies, you're gonna get your melee back. So either way, you're gonna have your melee back 9 out of 10 times, honestly. Then one of my favorite and most important is also Ember of Ashes. You apply more Scorch to targets. I believe this is like 6 times or 60, whatever it is, of Scorch added on. And because we're gonna be using the Skyburner oath, that is gonna apply so much Scorch. Then we're just gonna be scorching everything and exploding everything. It's gonna be crazy. I'm telling you, you're gonna get your super really quick. With this Shards of Galanor. Also, another important fragment, we're gonna use Ember of Eberron. Solar Weapon or Final Blows expands the duration of restoration and radiant effects applied to you. This is really good because now we're gonna be, as long as we get Final Blows, we're gonna have restoration and we're gonna have radiant as long as possible. And again, you're gonna be basically have crazy increased damage, being able to reload your melee, and you're gonna have, as long as you have Final Blows, you're gonna constantly be healing. So you're like a Wolverine that throws bombs basically. But yeah, also last but not least, we're gonna be using Ember of Beams. Your solar super projectiles have stronger target acquisitions. Now this basically is, you basically have better lock on aim. You know what I'm saying? So now it's going to be targeting, instead of just going everywhere, it's going to be hitting 1 or 2 targets and it's going to track them. And you're going to get your super energy because it was Shards of Galanor. With hits with the Shards of Galanor generate super energy now instead of Final Blows. So now you're going to get your energy as much as possible now that it's targeting 1 or 2 enemies and just going all over the place. But yeah, that's also going to our artifacts. You guys can screenshot this. Get everything that's solar, Flint Striker, Heart of Flames, Revitalizing Blast, and you have Rays of Precision. Are really good. Everything else can be on your turns or whatever you want to do. Also, if you only have solo operative, that's really good because you get a buff in damage if you're doing like solo contents, like maybe like Lost Sectors and stuff like that. Now going into our stats, you want to max out resilience. We're doing end game content. Anything that's 1770 and higher, max resilience is important or you will die. And then honestly, I wish I had a better roll for my Shards of Galanor. That's what I'm gonna get next after this, because it has more recovery than I need, and strength. I don't need that. I'd rather have more intellect, resilience, or discipline, especially intellect. So that can get buffed up to maybe like 70 or 80, which is going to be so you can get your super way faster. So if you can have a better roll, I say go for resilience and intellect, or resilience with discipline. It doesn't really matter. Either two works. Intellect would just be more better for you in game for like your super. And then going into mods, and you guys can see here, I'm using 2 solar siphons and then Domino. Then here I'm using, you can switch these. I don't really change these too much. But yeah, obviously, right, your chest piece is also important. You want to make sure you have resistance mods. So I'm both using solar, and then I'm also using emergency reinforcement. Or you can switch this out and use another resistance, like depending on what your content you're doing. You want to able to any pickup orbs to regenerate your health or start your regeneration, whatever you want to do. And then these are more for just creating orbs and picking up orbs. So yeah. That's it for this video, man. If you guys like this type of video, man, please leave a like and subscribe. It's your boy Everything Water, and Water is Everything, my familia. I'm out.